Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Inexperience Points podcast. My name's James. I have co-host here, Chris. Say
Hello.
hi, Chris.
Hi.
Yeah, so we decided to start up a new gaming podcast. We've both been gamers for quite a few years. Chris has had a bit of a hiatus recently, but he's got back into it again. So we thought no better time than to chat shit and record it down for other people who might care to listen to it, which is probably not many. So, first of all, introduce yourself, Chris. Tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Hello. So my name's Chris. I've been gaming since I was about 5 years old. I'm 26 now. So my first console I think was the Nintendo, the original NES, and I've had most consoles since. But most recently, I haven't done that much gaming outside of playing Rock Band drums.
I think you say life's kind of got in the way, hasn't it, recently?
Yeah. So freelance work and other little projects outside of work meant that I haven't really prioritised gaming recently. But that's kind of that little hiatus has very much ended now. Seeing as I've just bought a PS4.
Yeah, very exciting times. What bundle did you get again? Because I know it was on a very good deal.
So the package I got was the one that you recommended. That was on Amazon, where if you put through a combination of items, you got a load of discounts. So it was the PS4 itself plus The Witcher 3, The Last of Us, and what was that racing game?
Oh,
Project Cars, is it?
Project Cars, that's the one. I want to say The Crew, but no, it's Project Cars. How much was it in total?
So £280.
Yeah.
Which was an absolute bargain. And each time you put an item through, it seemed to take a little more off. So it started off at 350 or whatever, and then dropped down to 320, and then dropped down to 280 as you put each game through.
Yeah, bit of a winner. Couldn't go wrong there, really. Nice one. So that's got you well and truly back into gaming again.
Yeah. So what about yourself? Could you say a bit more about your gaming history? Have you gamed for years, or is it a new thing?
Very similar to you, actually. I started when I was about 5. My first console was the NES. I had this strange package for my birthday, and I was like, "Oh yeah, thank you, Mum. What the hell is it?" And then I got playing it, worked out what it did. Nowadays, I play all sorts of consoles and PC as well. I've got a PS4 and a Wii U, as well as my gaming PC. And I write for a gaming blog called This Is My Joystick as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and you write reviews, don't you? And some video reviews. And
yeah,
stuff
mainly reviews. I'm sort of the reviews editor for the site. Okay, so first of all, now you've got your shiny new PS4. What have you been playing on it?
Well, to be honest, I've only played one of the 3 games that I got. I sold Project Cars because I'm not into realistic racing games.
No,
So
don't blame you there.
Thought I'd sell it straight off and get the most I could. I do want to play The Last of Us remastered, but I've mainly just been playing The Witcher 3 because that's my kind of game. That ticks all my boxes. So.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. So I know it is an enormous game from what I've heard about it.
Yep.
So how are you getting on with it so far?
Well, it was quite funny. I probably played about between 10 and 15 hours, I imagine, and I think I've just completed the prologue.
So pretty much just an extended tutorial. You've just finished that.
Yeah, and I must admit, going into it, it was a bit, I kind of felt a bit out of my depth trying to pick up all the different things, because I haven't played a Witcher game before. I've always liked the look of them, but I've never actually played one.
Sure.
But I always like to put hardish difficulty levels. I don't think there's that much fun when things are too easy. So
what difficulty setting have you selected?
I can't remember how they phrased them. I think it was the equivalent of hard. It wasn't the hardest one.
Right.
It wasn't easy. I think there was 4, and it was the 3 of the 4.
Oh, okay. So a bit of a challenge, but not too mental.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I know they are quite challenging games. There's a lot to the combat in particular, isn't there? Have you been getting on with that?
Yeah, I died a lot.
You died a lot?
At first, even with what seemed like just straightforward normal enemies, I had to keep saving before I had any normal fights because I wasn't confident. Because it was a combination of it being on hard and me being a bit shit.
Of course, yeah. I know that feeling.
So no, I didn't do well at first, but then I did get into it a bit more. One thing I did find interesting, there was a weird option at the start where it was something to do with the old story and whether you allow them to pick what happened for you in Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, or whether or whether you choose yourself.
That's good. They had something very similar in Dragon Age Inquisition, actually. I didn't know they had that in The Witcher 3. That's cool.
Yeah, I had to look up what it was. I can't remember how it was phrased once you've gone through the new game or whatever. It came up as an option. I had to look up whether I should say yes or no. I decided I wanted to pick the outcome, although I didn't know when. It doesn't actually come until the end of the prologue, so it doesn't influence the prologue at all. And then once you've completed that, some guys like chatting to you and asking about your past, and that's when you choose. And it was just like character names. Maybe I should have done a bit more research into who I wanted to be alive. So it was kind of like, so what happened to her? And then like,
sure.
I killed her, or I let her go. But I'd have no idea who they were, so I don't know whether my previous Geralt was particularly moral or immoral.
No, I think to be fair, Geralt always is a bit of a grey area, isn't he? He's kind of good but kind of bad at the same time. He's not your typical goody-goody.
Yeah, no, I have enjoyed playing him so far with these choices, and then someone was like, "Oh, so are you expecting payment?" I'm like, yes, I am expecting payment.
Of course you are. You want money.
I'm not, he's not. He's a witcher by trade. He's not doing it for shits and giggles.
No, absolutely. So, any other comments on the game? What about the graphics?
The graphics are very nice. I know that's a bit vague. I wouldn't say I noticed a massive step up from sort of some stuff I've seen on PS3 to PS4, but that could just be me being a bit kind of out of the loop. But very nice, nonetheless. Very, very impressive. Generally, all the voice acting seems excellent, and the plot, and there's just so much to it.
It does sound absolutely massive. I've not got it myself yet, but it's my birthday on Sunday, so fingers crossed. I have put it on my list, so someone might have gotten it for me, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out, and then we'll be able to chat more about how you're finding it, how you're getting on with it.
Definitely.
What are you thinking of buying it on PC or
PC? Yeah, I do like my PS4. PC does have some advantages, like mainly price, to be honest. If you use the slightly dodgy grey market kind of key resellers, you can pick it up for about 20 quid, which when you compare that to walking into game and buying a new PS4 copy for about 50, it's a massive difference, really. My machine's not mega powerful, but it's slightly more powerful than a PS4, so you do get just marginally better graphics than on my PS4, but there's not a lot in it, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So The Witcher 3 has been taking up most of your gaming time. Has there been anything else at all, or is that literally just it?
Apart from my toilet gaming, which I think we'll get to later.
Certainly, we'll get to that later. So no, other than that, it's
just been The Witcher 3.
Okay, I don't blame you. I mean, you could certainly spend quite a few weeks getting completely stuck into that.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to get straight back on it really this weekend and pump another, hopefully 10 hours or something into it.
Yeah, and give us a bit of an update then once you're well past the prologue and getting fully into the meat of the game.
Yeah.
Nice one. So, I've been playing a few things recently of interest. The other day I bought Splatoon on Wii U. I wasn't planning to get it yet, but I found in an old box that had literally been hidden for about 10 years, I found an old Game Boy and loads of games. And nowadays I'm not really one for retro consoles. It's cool and all to reminisce, but I just knew I wouldn't make any use of it. And my local game shop, they take in all sorts of retro stuff. Let's just say I've traded in hundreds of pounds worth of stuff over the years.
Yep.
I think the tally probably now sitting at about £700 or £800 just from getting rid of all my retro stuff. So they gave me 85 quid credit, and with that I picked up Splatoon, and I'm enjoying that so far. If you don't know, it's mainly a multiplayer kind of shooter. But you can't say it's 100% of a shooter because the main mechanic of the game is actually painting the level in your own colour. There's two teams, and the colours sort of randomised depending on what game it is, but for instance one match will be pink versus blue, and so it's all about using a variety of crazy weapons to spray the level in your colour and try and get the most coverage. So it's sort of like paintball on roids, really.
Right.
It's really interesting because you play as these kind of kids, but they can transform into a squid at will. It's very Nintendo.
Yeah.
So when you transform, you can swim around and gather up more ink, ready to spray it again. So you can shoot other players, but the main crux of the game is definitely getting the most coverage of the level. so far, really enjoying it. More than I thought I would, actually. The amount of content is slightly lacking, but Nintendo do keep adding to it. Pretty much every week, they keep adding a new weapon or a new map. So I think by the end of it, there'll be quite a lot to it.
So is it kind of targeting everyone, you think, this game, from young up? Or...
Yeah, definitely. It's very much a family-friendly Nintendo game. It's only really cartoon violence, so yeah, it appeals to everyone. And I think there's enough depth to it to interest adults as well as kids, certainly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you keep playing it, or whether it's just something you can try out and drop. See.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the longevity of it, really.
Is there much strategy to it, with it being for everyone, or is it kind of just like a bit hit and hope?
Now, this is where there is an issue, because there's no voice chat in the game. Right. Again, Nintendo being really family friendly, they don't want people screaming about cocks to 7-year-old kids.
Yeah, well, you don't want people getting trolled.
The thing is, in theory, you could actually do a lot of coordination to try and beat the enemy team, but because of not having voice chat, it's really difficult to actually communicate your thoughts to other players. So that is a bit of a problem. That's a letdown, unfortunately. It's good if you can play with friends and use another medium with which to chat to them. So then you could cooperate that way. That would be quite good, I imagine.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying that so far. Another game which I've been spending a lot of time on is Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
So that's a brand new MOBA from Blizzard. I've played some MOBAs in the past. I first got into Smite. That was pretty good. And then I played League of Legends for a bit. My main problem with League of Legends, though, was basically the games were too long. So each game could be anywhere between half an hour to an hour. It doesn't sound too much in theory, but if you have to drop out for whatever reason, there is a severe penalty. And at one point, I didn't mean to, but I had to keep leaving a game every so often. And I was hit with a 7-day account suspension.
Right.
So, yeah, that was really annoying.
Yeah.
So that put me off League of Legends. I've not played any MOBAs since. But one of the main things which drew me into Heroes of the Storm is that each match is about 25 minutes.
Okay.
It's a much more manageable length, really. And so far, I've not had to leave a single one of those. So I've been getting on much better.
Is this the one where you've been riding around on a giant chicken or something?
Yeah, it's a goat, actually.
A goat. Okay.
It's free to play. I did buy one bundle, which came with a couple of characters, a couple of heroes, and yeah, a goat mount for some reason.
And did you say it was related to Diablo, or it's pulled in all different?
Yeah, so it's basically all the different Blizzard properties. So you've got Diablo in there. We've got StarCraft, so there's Reigner, and we've also got World of Warcraft.
Yep.
Of course, Blizzard are creating some new properties, like I think Overwatch is one. So at some point, we might eventually see them in the game as well.
Yeah,
so that's cool. But yeah, it's almost like Smash Brothers, but like Smash Brothers is for Nintendo.
Yeah.
This is for Blizzard properties instead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I've been pumping quite a lot of time into the game recently. It kind of helps due to the fact I've got these stim packs, they're called, that give you more experience in gold, and there's also an extra experience event going on at the moment.
STIM, is that an acronym?
Stimulant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. So with those two combined, I've been getting a lot more experience in gold, which has really helped increase the progression of the game. Because I imagine it's a bit of a grind without it. I imagine it takes quite a long time to sort of level up.
So how did you get those?
Right, so one of the stim packs, I think, was on some kind of offer just for playing the game at release.
Yeah.
The other one was because I bought that bundle of heroes and the goat and shit. That came with a stim pack as well. So those both lasted a week each, and then we've had like a 50% extra experience event, and I think now it's 100% extra experience. So I've been making the most of those.
Yep.
But actually, they kind of highlight sort of my main issue with the game in that it's actually really fucking expensive. If you actually spent real money to buy a few heroes, it will really quickly add up. Most of the heroes are between about £5 and £10-ish.
Yep.
And, well, there's already... I don't know, actually, there must already be about 40 heroes. So if there's quite a few you want, then that's soon going to add up.
So you think they're relying on people kind of wanting more than one character and having to pay for several different
Yeah, I guess
play
so.
styles? And...
It's not too bad because you do get, I think, about 5 free heroes every week that are kind of swapped out.
Oh, okay.
You can buy heroes with gold that you earn just through playing the game, but you do earn that really slowly.
Right.
But there are a few things you can do, like if you reach level 5 with a character, you get 500 gold. You have daily quests, so it's almost like a free-to-play mobile game, the way it's structured.
Yeah, I like those.
I know you do. Yeah, so it is pretty expensive. That's my main issue. I bought that pack because I think that's £4, which is pretty good value. But one of the packs, it's for one hero and 2 skins, and it's, I think, £23, which is just mental, because that's the price of a full game on its own, and that's just for one hero and some silly costumes.
Yeah.
So that's my main downside with the game. But other than that, I think it's really good how well it's streamlined. I think what Blizzard do really well is, rather than creating brand new concepts, they take stuff that already works and they look at it and say, right, you know, what's good about this and what can we sort out, what can we streamline to improve the experience. And Hearthstone's a good example of that. Their new trading card game thing doesn't really float my boat, but I know that's been really popular because it's just, there's a lot of depth to it, but it is still really simple, so anyone can get into it. And same again here, because the matches are shorter in Heroes of the Storm, it's a bit easier to get into. And they've gotten rid of the item shop, which you get in most MOBAs, and that's just a ball ache, the item shop. I know seasoned Dota and LoL fans will love it, but it's just a shitload of different things that you have to spend money on throughout the game, and it takes ages to learn what's best to buy, and it kind of really further increases that difficulty curve, whereas Heroes of the Storm swaps it out with abilities that you just automatically get as you level up. It would just say you've leveled up, choose an ability, and you'll be able to choose a new skill or something that improves your regeneration, or buffs something else. So it's just really kind of simplified, but there's still plenty of depth to it.
Yep.
So that's the main thing I really like about it.
How have you found playing with other people?
Not too bad. Now, the MOBA community is infamous for being a bunch of arseholes.
Yep.
I have had a few saying, "Oh, you're all noobs. Go quit and play something else," and people raging and quitting the game and sitting in the base protesting.
Anything in particular that caused them to, or just shout,
sometimes
from the off?
Sometimes me being shit doesn't help, but
yeah.
I think just generally if the team were rubbish,
they just it really annoys me when people like that. Why they can't just get on regardless of.
I know, because the games are shorter in Heroes of the Storm, so it's not quite as bad as playing an hour-long game where you're with a crap team. You know, it's going to be over sooner.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's quite so frustrating when you are stuck in a bad game. You might as well just ride it out and do as best as you can. Sometimes you might be able to turn it round. So yeah, overall the community's not been too bad. It's been okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to spend some more time on it in the coming weeks, but it'll be interesting to see how much of a grind it is once these bonuses wear off. I think it'll make it a bit harder to progress then.
Yeah, it could be the stopping point for you, I think. If
possibly.
you find it just becomes too grindy and that kind of, well, for me certainly it takes the fun out of things.
Yeah.
So that might be the point in which you either carry on or you stop, depending on how grindy it gets.
Yeah, definitely. And probably just come back for any other events in the future with extra experience. So I think that's enough said about that. What we need to move on to now is the big thing that's been happening this week, which is E3.
Yes.
So, a hell of a lot to cover. There's no way we can even attempt to talk about everything that was announced and shown at the convention. So, I think we should probably just talk about some of the things which most surprised us or interested us or disappointed us. Do you want to start by saying, anything that particularly stood out to you on any of the conferences?
Yeah, I think well the obvious one, and it was the thing that we spoke about pretty much straight away, is the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which I think incidentally we'd spoken about a few weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, we did actually. We were saying about it and said, I don't think they'll ever do it, but it'd be really popular if they did.
We never quite understood why it hadn't been done, because the demand was always there and the money would always be there. So.
People have been shouting about it for years. Definitely. I think it's going to be a challenge because, especially visually, the PS1 graphics was so basic, primitive, that upgrading that to PS4 standard is going to take a lot of work. But
yeah, with the size of the world, and
it's got to pay off though. I think some people would be disappointed because they'll be thinking about the game through nostalgia glasses, and then they'll play it again, and it won't be quite the same. But it'll probably still feel a little bit outdated, and they'll be like,
Yeah, I do wonder how much they'll kind of play around with like the battle system and things like that, or whether they'll...
True. Because that sort of turn-based battling is it's a little bit old hat now. I think a lot of games prefer a more real-time system where you have cooldowns and stuff like that, rather than take as much time as you want to select your spells. But it'd be a big thing to change that.
I do wonder what they'll do with that, because obviously there's so much praise for the whole materia system and how it was and the limit breaks, and whether they're going to keep them very much as it was or try and mould them into some sort of newer, as you say, real-time way of doing it. Or it'll be interesting to see where they take that. I think if they do just keep it as it was, I think that'll be a bit disjointed with all the new graphics and everything, and then just a kind of old system.
Yeah, quite right. I think the environments as well, some of the levels will probably almost feel a bit claustrophobic now.
Yeah, kind of like tunnels. Well, literally in some cases.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I didn't play that much of the original because I was always a Nintendo fanboy, so I didn't have a PS1. I played it a little bit on PSP, but even by then it was looking a little bit outdated, so I never got too far with that. I'm looking forward to trying it out though, fully remastered. I think that'll be pretty good.
I'm wondering about the music as well. I'm guessing they're just going to keep all the same score and update it. I'm hoping so, anyway.
Well, yeah, I guess it's got to be at least similar, hasn't it? Because music's such a big part of the nostalgia and big part of the tone of the game that they can't alter it too drastically. I guess.
Yeah, it certainly was for me. Like I can still listen to those tunes now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and obviously it does sound dated, but also it still sounds excellent. And it, as you say, it is very nostalgic. Like you can almost imagine the different areas based on what you listen to.
Yeah, bring all the memories flooding back. Yeah, I can imagine. Was there anything else in particular that stood out?
Star Fox. I was pleased that Star Fox has cropped up.
Are you a Star Fox fan, are you?
Yeah, well, I was a big fan of Lilac Wars.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I seem to remember that I got Lilac Wars with a Rumble pack. So it was like a big box with the two.
Yeah, big limited edition thing.
I might have got that for Christmas once, I think. But I do remember playing that an awful lot and completing it, and then getting the special ending somehow. Which I can't remember the details.
I'm not even sure I did that, to be honest. I probably didn't even know about that when I was playing it.
It put shades on Star Fox like his dad used to have. So you'd complete the game in a certain way, meet certain criteria, and then you'd replay through and he'd have sunglasses on, like his dad.
Okay. No, I had no idea about that, to be honest. I didn't have a clue. That's news to me, so that's interesting. So, how did you think the new one's shaping up?
It kind of looked more of the same, but... Well, I say more of the same, but it looks similar to Lilac Wars, which...
It did,
nice. Or Star Fox 64, depending on where you're from, I guess.
Yeah, it was based on the region, that wasn't it?
But yeah, it kind of looked similar, which I like the look of, because I think games since, they haven't looked that appealing. They didn't kind of remind me of Lilac Wars, where that did. Apart from the weird chicken. There's like a weird, like,
the special ability for it to go on land, you mean? The the spaceship for it to transform and go on land. That was a bit weird.
I'm not sure I'd like to play as the chicken.
No, maybe not. It would probably be essential at some points of the game, but it's probably best avoided. But yeah, as you say, the It was a GameCube version, wasn't it? Star Fox Adventures. That was quite a big departure.
Oh, that
from
was
what came
massive.
before.
Yeah. I did actually play that. I completed that as well. It was.
Oh, okay.
It was weird. It was one of those games that I think, on the whole, wasn't that good, but it was obviously good enough for me to bother finishing it.
That's fair.
But yeah, that one was, as you say, a very bizarre departure. I can't remember a huge amount of detail about it now, other than there was one bad guy all the way through.
Okay.
And then you got to the end, and then you didn't get to fight him, and the bad guy from Light Wars cropped up instead.
Really? That's a spoiler right there.
Spoiler alert.
If anyone's not finished that yet,
If you haven't finished, yeah,
we're going to be getting threatening letters. People
what-
really angry that you've just spoiled
Yeah.
the ending.
of Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah, I never made it to the end, I must admit.
Andros, that's it.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That
so-
guy.
So Andros crops up. So you have this enemy throughout the entire game, and then you finally meet him, ready to fight him, and
Yeah.
Andros just comes and squashes him, and you fight Andros instead.
Really?
Which is, kind
Bit of a bait and switch.
Oh, and then Falco turns up as well.
Oh,
in
okay.
the final battle, which was good. Oh, that reminds me, in the actual, I thought with the trailer, I thought it was funny that the three heads of Nintendo, they were Falco, Star Fox, and Peppy, but they didn't bother including Slippy,
Oh, poor Slippy.
because nobody likes Slippy, do they really?
Well, I'm sure he has his fans, but
Well.
kind of the reject of the group, I guess. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how he got a job flying there.
What about a fox? I mean, would you usually trust a spaceship with a fox?
Well, I guess so. I guess given the context of the, I don't know, the world, where
Yeah.
all these animals are clearly capable, except for Slippy.
Bless him. He does his best. Yeah, that intro to the Nintendo Direct was pretty mental. I don't think anyone saw that coming. With Shigsy and Reggie in that, and Iwata as Muppets. That was pretty crazy. You got to give it to him being creative. There was been quite a lot of backlash over the Nintendo Direct, though. A lot of people are actually really angry and disappointed over everything that was shown in general. I think you can tell that Nintendo are holding off now. They've got the NX coming up, whatever the hell that's going to be. And I think they're saving some of their good stuff for that. Obviously, the Wii U, as much as I love it, it has been a colossal failure.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The 3DS is doing well, and they did announce a few 3DS titles. I liked the look of the Mario one. Mario and Luigi mixed with Paper Mario. That might be quite good.
Paper Jam.
Paper Jam, yes. That's clever, that is. Yeah, no, I enjoyed some of the Mario and Luigi games. I really liked Paper Mario on the GameCube. I know that series has been a little bit up and down. The last one wasn't quite so good. But overall,
generally it's quite well received, isn't it? the whole
Yeah.
Paper Mario.
definitely. I think it's a really cool spin on it. So that looked good. But yeah, there was probably a bit of a lack of really decent stuff. The Metroid game is where most of the vitriol is coming from. In fact, there's been a petition. At the moment, I think there's over 10,000 signatures. People saying, Nintendo, do not make this game. How dare you? Ruining the name of Metroid. And I can understand people are fed up because they've been wanting a proper Metroid sequel for I don't know how long now.
Yeah.
And yeah, what they showed, the Federation Force, it's definitely a spin-off. Did you see that?
No.
that's all right. Yeah, there's so much stuff. I missed some of it. But yeah, basically it was there's either a 3 or 4 player online multiplayer shooter kind of thing. I think it was kind of co-op, and then also probably a deathmatch mode.
I don't think they've ever done multiplayer Metroid before, have they? Or I
don't think they have. I can't think of any. There might have been some that I don't know about, but yeah, it's probably a first for the series, pretty much. Did the DS one have multiplayer? Maybe. Anyway, it wasn't a proper adventure that everyone was hoping for.
No.
And I think once they saw Metroid Prime come up on the screen, everyone went nuts, and then they saw the reality and didn't quite meet their expectations. So there's been a lot of anger about that.
Yeah.
Overall, it wasn't a terrible conference, but I think in comparison to Microsoft and Sony, it obviously wasn't quite as impressive. We had some other big surprises. I mean,
What other than what we've spoken about, what would you say you were most excited about?
well, The Last Guardian. I can't believe that's finally coming out, supposedly.
Yeah, I think
That'll be
everyone was
nice.
feeling a bit kind of negative about that, like expecting it to have disappeared into nothingness, but
That's been on and off for
thankfully,
years.
hasn't.
Yeah. So that's cool. That was another big surprise. So there was kind of a holy trinity of surprise games which have been resurrected. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII and
Shenmue.
yes, Shenmue. That's the other one. I was trying to think. Last Guardian. Yeah, Shenmue was the other one. So I've never played Shenmue. Don't really know anything about it other than the fact that everyone raves over it.
Yep, I'm kind of the same. I remember my cousin had a Dreamcast, and
Yeah.
he really went on about it as quite revolutionary and quite open worldy, perhaps.
Yeah, I think it's one of those Dreamcast games that people loved, and it's sad that obviously the Dreamcast went the way it did. So everyone's been wanting it to make a return ever since, I guess.
Well, especially with it was always meant to be a trilogy, wasn't it? And I think the story was left unfinished.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Which is part of the reason that people really wanted to actually. And from the trailer, that's basically what he said. This isn't a new game, with the name or, a remake. It is a finishing off the trilogy. As it was always intended.
Cool.
So
that's good then.
That's really good news for a lot of people, I imagine.
I'm sure they'll kind of catch up on the old stuff, or I'm sure it'll be able to stand on its own 2 feet because of obviously the huge time gap we've had.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll keep a lot of the strengths and just develop them into a more modern game. I think that, as we were saying with Final Fantasy, I'm sure there's loads of stuff that's really outdated. I think that I've noticed, the old voice acting was comical.
Oh yeah,
and I think there might have been QuickTime events.
Oh, they had QuickTime events.
I seem to think there was QuickTime events.
Well, they're still a thing now,
well,
so
hopefully they won't put them in.
Well,
I hate QuickTime events. I don't think they're ever justified.
Sometimes they're okay. Have you ever played Azura's Wrath?
No, I've seen it though.
It's just basically a game of QuickTime events. I started trying to play that the other day. Didn't really get on too well with it. Sold it.
There we go. Well, that's QuickTime events for you.
Yeah, that sums that up. QuickTime events, the game.
I just think it's lazy. I think it's a very lazy form of gameplay.
It is, yeah.
It's barely gameplay at all, I think.
I think Heavy Rain did it quite well, I suppose. They were a bit more interesting. You did more interesting things.
Yeah, they played around with it a bit more, didn't they? And made it a bit more kind of innovative, but it still never really appealed to me. I think the story side of it did, but I would pretty much be playing that for the story rather than the gameplay.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, hopefully Shenmue will appeal to newbies as well, because I'd quite like to get into it, but I'm certainly not trying to go back and play the first two somehow. I'm not that interested, but yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on it.
But yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. With Last Guardian, did you like what you saw in regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, I never played Ico or Eco, however you pronounce it, but I really did enjoy Shadow of the Colossus.
Yep.
It definitely had that same kind of vibe about it, except this time the lads befriended the monster rather than stabbing it in the head.
Yeah, which is a nice change. You don't want to...
Yeah, you did feel really guilty about taking down all the monsters in Shadow of the Colossus. It was a really good game.
I think that was quite brilliant how they did that. It really was something different for gamers to make you almost feel this.
You did feel like an asshole.
Yeah.
You really did.
It was very much selfish, wasn't it? He was doing this to try and resurrect his girlfriend or something. So
didn't he fail in the end anyway?
I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened in the end. I don't think it worked as smoothly as... I think she might have been resurrected, but I think he might have been, sacrificed or something.
Yeah, my memory's terrible, so I can't remember what happened. I meant to play through it again on the PS3 HD remake. Might have to at some point. That was a really good game.
Yeah.
In fact, it inspired my appalling PlayStation username.
Oh yeah, and what's that?
Catonic Colossus. Basically, I'd got my PS3. I was really itching to get online, get playing it. I was like, what the hell am I going to use as my username? And I looked at my shelf. I saw an album that I liked called The Catonic Chronicles. And I saw Shadow of the Colossus next to it. I was like, oh, Catonic Colossus. That's a good name.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, I've regretted that ever since.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I really hope Sony introduce a way to change your username. even if you have to pay for it.
Oh,
that'd
that'd be money well spent, I imagine, even if it was £50.
Yeah, I'd still do it. It's such a terrible name. Yeah, anyway, I think overall it is a really strong E3. Still got loads more to talk about, try and fit some other stuff in. So I think with Sony, they showed a lot of good games and a lot of surprising games. But with Microsoft, what was interesting about them is the stuff they showed about the console itself.
Yeah.
So we had the backwards compatibility. I didn't see that coming. I thought that wasn't going to be a thing anymore. So that's, I think, won quite a few people over.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. They are now doing a Xbox preview thing, bringing early access games over, which doesn't appeal to me in the slightest, but some people obviously have an interest in that kind of stuff. I think it'll catch a lot of people out. I don't want to kind of generalise, but I think PC gamers can be more savvy than console gamers on the whole, just because consoles are a little bit more mainstream. So I think we'll have a lot of people buying those games and not realising what actually entails early access.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of console gaming as it is, especially with me being a console gamer primarily. It's that kind of simplicity, having everything.
That's right, it just works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just keeps everything simple. Whereas, PC gamers are always looking into more depth. Well, not always looking into more, but
it is more technical.
There is that more likely to look around, and even if you can apply that to upgrading your PC, but also the other aspects, as you say.
Yeah, optimizing stuff, and mods, and all that crap. What else do we have? Oh, we had the HoloLens. You saw that demo, didn't you? The Minecraft HoloLens thing. I know you had mixed feelings about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it looked great, but gimmicky. It didn't appeal to me. There was nothing. It didn't get me excited. I thought, oh, that looks cool. They displayed it well, but in terms of gripping me and getting me excited, no, it didn't really do anything for me. It just.
You see, I think it's a good concept, but for me, I'm not sure Minecraft is the right usage for it. I know it's cool with him projecting the map on the table and stuff, but for me, I know some people see Minecraft more as a creation tool, but when I've played it, I've actually enjoyed the adventuring aspects. I think if you zoom out to get a real bird's eye view, I think you'd lose that.
Yeah.
So I quite enjoyed the fact that it almost felt quite claustrophobic when you were, exploring all the dungeons and stuff. And I think first person is the right viewpoint for that. Sort of being able to kind of zoom out, you'd kind of lose that. It definitely appealed to some people. And I think the HoloLens does have a lot more applications, but it's actually more typical VR rather than the augmented reality stuff that interests me.
Yeah.
So the Oculus.
Yep.
I am really excited for that. I feel like a bit of a kid because it is something that you kind of dream about since being a child, like being able to strap on this headset, which gives you an amazingly realistic game right in front of your eyes, and it feels like you're immersed in the game. So I am really excited for that. And
yeah, I think that's something that would, especially sort of our generation, probably imagined for a long time, but never really thought that it was going to happen. Certainly not anytime soon. So the fact that kind of thing is getting developed, is it?
We finally getting the tech in place to be able to pull it off. Whereas obviously previous attempts have failed so badly.
Yep. Virtual Boy, what was that one?
Yeah, Virtual Boy, bloody hell.
Old
that
school.
Was far too early. Yeah, so they actually announced some new controllers for that as well, for the Oculus.
So you could say for the Virtual Boy.
For the Virtual Boy. That was part of Nintendo
that was the big
Direct.
Reveal, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're bringing the Virtual Boy back. No. They announced these new controllers for the Oculus. They looked a bit weird, but basically they're kind of motion sensors. And I know motion controls, yada yada.
Yep.
Kind of died a death, but I think it does make sense for the Oculus, where you're really trying to work on that immersion. It probably wouldn't feel quite the same if you were using an Xbox pad. I mean, it would be fine, but actually being able to kind of reach out and see your arms sort of represented in the game, that'll really help ground you in the game, I think.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to improve it even more when it comes out. I think the Oculus is actually coming with an Xbox One pad as standard though as well. That's something they announced. So it's going to be quite a full kit. It's going to be bloody expensive, I bet.
I imagine so, yeah.
Bloody expensive, but I'm definitely going to save up for one, no doubt. Even though I'm probably going to have to upgrade my PC as well. In fact, Microsoft announced that you'll be able to use it with the Xbox One. So I think Xbox One will stream to the PC where you can use the Oculus. So you'll actually be able to play some Xbox One games using your PC and the Oculus. Which is a good idea because obviously PlayStation's got their Morpheus headset and Microsoft hasn't really announced any of its own VR. So that seems like a perfect solution. Although, then again, obviously you need to have a PC as well.
Yep.
So it's not suitable for everyone, but it's a decent solution. Okay, so what else did you see at E3 that took your fancy?
Well, there was the Mass Effect one, which was interesting.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Andromeda. That's the one.
I'm not even sure what that even means.
It's a space thing, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, so I watched that because I played all the Mass Effects. Really enjoyed them all. I think I enjoyed 1 and 2 more than 3. I didn't see 3 through to the end.
Oh, okay.
I kind of just lost interest, but I did read up on what potentially happens depending on, there's a few different endings, isn't there? You know what you do, but
yeah, I only got halfway through 2. I keep meaning to finish the whole trilogy. Really, I must do one day. No doubt there'll be a remastered edition at some point. PS4.
Yeah, I imagine so. Seems to be the way.
So I don't think the trailer revealed much, did it? Not a lot.
I watched it kind of, as I say, because I've got an interest in the series, but I wouldn't say there was anything particularly exciting about the trailer.
Nah, definitely just a basic little teaser, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But at least we know it's coming, so that's cool. What else did we have? We had one thing that stood out to me on the Sony conference was that Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
So that's from the Killzone developers. Rather than pumping out yet another Killzone game, which they are pretty decent to be fair, even though they're not the most popular shooter out there. Yeah, now they're going for something totally different, a brand new IP. So it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic world, and they were fighting like robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, that can happen.
Well, I mean, having robots in games is cool, and dinosaurs is cool, so I guess combining the two is even better.
Yeah.
That must be what they thought. The protagonist kind of reminded me of the Tomb Raider reboot of Lara Croft. She was quite badass.
There was a Tomb Raider as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, talking of Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, the Xbone exclusive, well, timed exclusive. Did you play or did you see the Tomb Raider reboot, the last one?
I didn't play it. I saw it. I watched the reviews. I was semi-interested in it, but obviously, no, I don't think I'd bother playing that now.
It was pretty good, to be fair. I never quite made it to the end, but it was a pretty solid game. Really good graphics, and I think it was a good restart to the franchise because I know they'd not put out many particularly good Tomb Raiders in quite a while. So it's definitely a step really back in the right direction.
And this one's just following on from the last.
I don't actually know. Possibly. Do you know that for sure? I'm not certain, to be honest.
No, I was jumping to an assumption, really.
Yeah, that shows how much I know about it. Cool. So we had that. Anything else of interest?
Nier. How do you feel about Nier?
Yeah, Nier. That's a real divisive game. That is. It didn't get reviewed particularly well, but I know that it did have its fans. I had one person who raved about it. One person that I knew. I didn't play it myself. It looked alright, standard kind of JRPG sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought when I watched the reviews. But I did think I'd kind of like the look of it, and I know Darren on the Midlife Gamer podcast chatted about it quite a lot, and he really loved it. So I listened to quite a lot of that, which I know he played for ages. So I ended up hearing quite a lot about it through the podcast, and it sounded fine. Do you know?
So other stuff of interest, we had Dark Souls 3. I do like the Dark Souls games, and I really like Bloodborne. I've not actually played Dark Souls 2 yet. That's one I've missed out, so I'm going to get to that at some point. Scholars of the First Sin. Yeah, Dark Souls 3, it looks like kind of more of the same, but in a good way. I think they're giving it a bit of a visual upgrade, definitely. And the environments look pretty good this time around. Some of the environments look massive, but similar kind of gameplay.
Yeah, I think... I don't know how long it's going to be with the Dark Souls games, and until people just kind get bored of more of the same, because they've obviously done it really well. But now it's just like rinse and repeat with slight improvements, and I don't know how long they can keep.
No, they are kind of sticking to the formula a bit. I think there's still some ways that they can take the game. It worked really well using kind of the general concepts of Dark Souls and planting that into a different setting with Bloodborne, because that felt kind of similar but also different at the same time, I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Dark Souls 3 is going to be, fairly similar to Dark Souls 2. I'm quite looking forward to it anyway. So, anything else? I can't bother to read out everything. There was a hell of a lot, but must have been a few more interesting ones. We had Halo 5 Guardians. We had more shown of that. There was a new Warzone mode announced. It's basically like, what do they call that mode on Gears of War?
What, Horde?
Yeah, like Horde mode, that's the one. Basically Halo's answer to Horde. I think that was the general gist of it, unless I completely got the wrong end of the stick there. So that's cool. I'm not sure Halo 5 is enough to make me want to buy an Xbox One.
I think it'd take a hell of a lot to convince me to buy an Xbox One.
Yeah, I mean, particularly for me, I've got a gaming PC, and lots of stuff on the PS4 turns up on the PC as it is, and there's really not enough exclusives yet to justify me getting one. I think it's going to be quite some time before I do.
Yeah, I think that's right. To get one of each, you do need a lot of exclusives, not just timed exclusives. I don't think timed exclusives would really convince me.
No, I'm a patient man. I'm quite happy to wait for a game to come to the console I want it on. I mean, I recently got GTA 5 on PC when that came out, and obviously it came out first on PS3. I actually got it on PS3, but then I sold it straight away because I was like, actually, they're going to bring it to PC at some point, and they might bring it to PS4 as well. So obviously they brought it to PS4, a year later. Almost got it then, but I was like, no, actually, I'm going to keep waiting and get it on PC. So probably a year and a half later, finally turned up on PC, and I was quite happy to wait for that, to be fair.
Have you played much of it?
Yeah, decent amount. I think I've pumped about 25, 30 hours into that.
Oh, great. I didn't realise you played that much.
Yeah, I've played it quite a lot, but I still feel like barely scratched the surface, to be fair.
Have you been going down the story route, or have you been sticking to the side quests and the many other things?
Mostly story, a bit of online as well, but mostly the main story. Obviously, we've got a busy podcast today for our first one, so I'll probably get on to that maybe for next episode, because I've got quite a few things to say about GTA 5.
Sure.
Anything else before we bring this to a timely conclusion?
I'm just trying to think if there was any other trailers that got me particularly excited.
Oh, there are a couple of other EA ones. Mirror's Edge. You mentioned that?
No, we haven't mentioned that.
The new Mirror's Edge. So that looks pretty good. Did enjoy the first Mirror's Edge.
It's quite divisive as well, wasn't it? In terms of
yeah, well, it did have its fans, definitely. I think the main problem was it initially didn't sell as well and get as much acclaim as they wanted, but over the years it's been so long now, so many people have been asking for a sequel. Actually, I think now that overall lifetime sales were pretty good, so it's finally justified this sequel. So yeah, the sequel looks pretty good. They've actually taken out gun combat fully, so it's entirely parkour and hand-to-hand combat, which is quite a good idea because the gunplay was the main thing that people complained about in the first one, really.
Yeah, and I seem to remember, didn't it encourage you not to shoot? I think you got achievements for going through the game without...
Oh yeah, without shooting a single weapon, that's true. And I think that is the best way to play the game.
It certainly sounds like that'd have the most sort of skill required.
Yeah, I think by putting a gun in, you're just kind of trying to appease typical shooter fans, but you make it more interesting and unique to design the game around not using it. So I like that choice. I think that was a good idea. And have we mentioned Star Wars Battlefront as well?
No, we haven't mentioned that yet.
So I know we both watched the trailer of that one together.
Yep.
That's certainly looking good. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world at all.
I'd say you're not a fan at all. Like.
I'm no. I should be. In theory, I mean, I really like sci-fi stuff. I don't know why it just doesn't appeal to me that much, but still, this is basically Battlefield with a Star Wars skin. That's probably doing it a bit of an injustice. I think they've reworked it a bit more than that. But I do love my Battlefield games. So to have Battlefield in a new universe would be pretty cool. The Battlefield 4 is starting to feel a bit samey compared to Battlefield 3. I think Battlefield 5 will, again, probably be quite similar. So it would be good to get that formula but in a totally different setting. I think it'll be pretty good. Did you enjoy the trailer?
Yeah, I thought it looked excellent, and there was quite a lot going on. You know, at first it kind of seemed like blaster shootery, but then there was some flying as well, and then there was Vader and Skywalker with lightsabers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that end bit was about. I mean, we were talking about it, and I guess do you probably have a commander for each team, and they're kind of each team's leader? I'm not sure. I've not looked enough into it.
Yeah, because it was just the two, wasn't there? The lightsabers. But no, it looked excellent, and it really brought Hoth to life with that battle. So I think a lot of, especially Star Wars fans will be very excited about this.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Without saying, really.
Definitely. I know that Nath is one of our colleagues. He's pretty keen on it. Definitely, he's a big Star Wars fan.
You'll love it.
Cool. So, see, as we said, there's no way we were going to be able to talk about everything, but I think that sums up E3 quite nicely.
Yeah, some of the things we took away from it mainly.
Yeah, definitely. So, as for wrapping up the podcast, anything else we've got to talk about? We alluded to a special feature earlier. So this is going to be a weekly thing where we have a new toilet game.
Toilet game of the week.
Toilet game of the week, every single week for your enjoyment. You might be asking, what is a toilet game? Well, basically a mobile game. So
ideal for playing on the toilet.
Yeah,
probably.
Ideal for playing on the toilet.
Or it's not exclusively on the toilet. I'll probably dabble outside of the toilet as well. But
no, I guess if you're itching to play a game on your phone, you're not going to go and sit on the toilet
every time. Yeah,
no,
just to get my fill.
So yeah, we thought we'd start up this as our first feature. We've given you a little bit of a head start this week.
Yep.
The game I chose for you is Drift Girls. Now we both saw this and thought it was quite funny. It's basically like a free-to-play racer, isn't it?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Do you care to tell us more about it? What makes it unique?
Yeah, so you sent this article over to me about it, and it was and it kind of started saying, "Oh, whether you want it or not, Drift Girls is coming," and it seems to combine racing with dating.
Yep.
In possibly the loosest sense of the term.
Yeah, probably pretty shady dating. If you're into that kind of dating, well, no comment.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it seems that you're showing off your racing skills in order to pick up women. Again, women in the loosest sense of the term. It's like
story of our lives, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I know that I do drift racing to impress the women on a regular basis. So I'm really going to be able to identify with this.
That's good.
But yeah, it's got kind of like a manga art style to it, hasn't it? Like you.
Yeah, definitely. So it's so by the looks of it, all the characters in it are very, I think, ecchi is what they call it, where it's not quite hentai, but it's halfway there.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that terminology, so I'll have to look it up.
I've taught you something that actually no, don't look it up. You don't want to look it up.
Well, I'll look it up at work.
To be fair, I won't judge. Whatever floats your boat. So yeah, that's going to be your game for the week that you're going to play up until the next podcast, and then we'll get you to talk about it and tell us what you thought.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So as you said, I've had a bit of a head start on this because you gave it me before recording this, but I'll continue playing it and I'll do a full roundup next time, and then next time you'll set me another one to talk about on the following podcast.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Good stuff. So, I mean, as far as the podcast is concerned, obviously it's very early days. It's probably a bit ropey to start with. Thanks for tuning in. Well done to you if you've actually made it this far.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
As you'll notice, we've not got much set up yet. The website's very basic, but don't worry, 'cause in the coming weeks we'll be designing the website properly. We'll be sorting out social media, sorting out all the branding, hopefully getting a nice logo at some point, sorting out the music. So yeah, it's all very much in the early stages, but we were keen to get it out there. And that's something that we'll work on over the next few weeks. So we'd be really glad if you tune in again. We'd appreciate it, and feel free to give us some feedback. Any other thoughts that you have before we say goodbye to the nice folks at home?
No, that's cool. I'm sure there'll be, when we get the website running properly, there'll be a contact us, so feel free to get in touch. And
Yeah, that'd be
social
great.
media as well.
Yeah, if you give us some feedback, certainly, or
Any
ask us a
requests or
question.
anything. Yeah.
Right, well, thanks again then for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week.
See you next time.
Cheers, bye.
Put in the PS4, Witcher 3.
Okay, yeah, I have to apologise here. We've currently got workmen in the building, so if you keep hearing lots of random drilling, that's why. Because these knobheads have been at it for months now.
Hopefully this is just a temporary
Like
issue.
to interrupt us at the worst times. Okay, try and carry on when you can.
Yeah, so just like a really long fart. Oh, for fuck's
We
sake.
can edit this out, don't worry.
Right.
I can kind of understand it because you can tell...
You can tell that someone's drilling in the background.
Yeah, you can tell that there's someone drilling in the background.
Which is an absolute nightmare when you're trying to record a show.
It is, yeah. Yeah, these are bloody workmen drilling away. Can't stand him. Shut up. Leave us alone. Okay, so...
So they have done.
Yeah, so people do get pretty angry
At the drilling.
at the drilling. I'm getting pretty angry right now.
Did you watch the trailer, the new one?
I didn't actually. No, I missed that one. So I can't say I know much about it.
No, well I didn't either, so maybe we should cut that bit out.
Yeah, that's alright. We'll talk about it in the end and just drop that bit. Cool.